What's going on tonight, fam? Um, yeah, I had to get at my kids. Yeah, you're trying to do two things at one time. The ADOS life. Um, Tonight, what I want to talk about tonight, the name of the show is "Welcome to the Twilight Zone." Um, in real time with our ADOS family, a lot of times that's what we have to do. We got to talk about here at Breaking the Mental Chain, the ADOS way. What we always try to do is connect the dots to our mental state. Meaning when you come from slavery, the trauma that it inflicts can put something on you and you can carry over things that comes from slavery. Like it or not, that's just how it is. That's the way it goes. Um, but the key to these things is being able to know when you're talking away, when you acting away, that it's something been put into you by this oppression of these institutions, of white institutions have programmed in us. A lot of times we don't connect these things to slavery, but they're connected to slavery. You know, the mental state of a field Negro versus a house Negro, it definitely still exists in today's time. Just because in our time it was where you would be like, hey, um, this this person would talk like, Massa, what you want me to do today, Massa? It may sound like this in today's time. Yeah, y'all always begging the white man for something. Y'all need to get out there and get it for yourself. Same thing, just differently worded. So it sounds different. It's like the remix of bootstrapping. Um, Another thing I want to touch on is why we constantly push accountability. What makes accountability so important? So we got to be able to connect the dots. What makes accountability so important? It's a simple fact. Is when you tell white folks that, hey, if this the Negro you trying to get to lead me the wrong way, I'm going to hold this Negro accountable. So it'll send a message to you that this Negro don't speak for me because this Negro is a problem. So you want accountability, not just for white folk, but you want it for your own people too. Because understand, if you don't hold him accountable, white people will use him to lead you in the wrong way. Or her. Him or her. It don't matter which one it is. They will use them to lead you in the wrong way. Once they know and understand that you are on code with them and that they have enough people listening to be a distraction. Another thing accountability does, it stops the in-house pimping. What do I mean when I say the in-house pimping? Where we allow our own group to pimp us while talking about how this country has pimped us. Because another thing that has happened within our group is this sense of mentality of hustling. And when that hustle becomes to pimping you, when your people can barely pay their light bill, we got to call that out. I don't need you to be trying to hustle me while I struggle to pay that $4 a gallon gas. So we got to have accountability. Um, it's I wanted to read something that I'm gonna look right here and look at. It's I go through all these websites all the time, just reading things that our group is involved in. That and the things that's being said and the pimp moves that being made. This is something I read from a group off of Facebook. I'm gonna just read the statement. It says basically 2022. Let's each pay $1 per month, and each month this group awards a new business $50K. 12 months that's $600,000, and 12 new businesses. And it says it'll create 12 new businesses, but it also says It says thoughts. And this group has 1.8 million members. It's totally doable. The group says it's totally doable because this group has 1.8 million members. And it's saying what they want to do is collect just $1 from each member and saying it will reward each business that it rewards. It will reward them $50,000 a month. Now understand, this is a trick, a con artist, a pimp move. Things like this, you got to first, all those numbers thrown out, the only two numbers matter is the dollar and the membership is 1.8 million in the dollar. That means every month if everybody gave $1, they would be collecting $1.8 million while only giving out 50,000 of it. You see the hustle? If we're not going to allow institutions no more to pimp us and use us as the mule, we got to call out black people too when they try to do it. We must hold them accountable too. You just can't hold white institutions accountable if you're going to avoid holding black people accountable. Because if you do not hold them accountable, white people will use them because they see you listening to them. You get it? So to connect the dot, if you tell him he ain't going to do it, that tell the white man you can't even use him to manipulate me neither. You need to be able to see this. See, it's just like what is being said here. So what happened with the other 21 million? That's right, because he said 600,000 for a year, but it's actually $21 million being collected, while he only talking about paying out 600,000. We got to get in these spaces. Tone talked about this earlier. It's this craze in our group that's going on. Nobody sees it. That's a craze. All of these things show you that we are so oppressed, so traumatized. We're doing everything but what needs to be done. What needs to be done is to hold these politicians accountable. The fight is reparations all times, 24/7. We must be able to use our people power to get this done. If 1.8 million people are being tricked and giving up $1 and not paying attention to politics, that hinders us because the last bit of power we got in America is our people power. That's why that statement and that manipulation is a problem. That's why. Get out of your mind about hate and become critical thinkers. Another trick is telling you everything that being called out is somehow hate or you trying to hate. No, if you can connect the dots, you understand. If you're leading 1 million people in the wrong direction, that they're not going to benefit from it, and then I come up and got the absolutely right plan that can fix it. Now they too tired, they too frustrated, they don't want to stand up and fight now. Because they tired of being bamboozled. It's common sense. If you get tired of being bamboozled, you're going to get tired and don't want to fight. So we got to hold everybody accountable. In group and out of group. You cannot let nobody continue to lead. Understand. This ain't a occurrence that just been happening during your lifetime. ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, have been dealing with this oppression for 400 plus years. If we don't hold everything accountable that don't lead us to the debt, to a black agenda, to making us whole within our family, not just for one individual to benefit. See, this 21 million gonna benefit one family, one group that started. And everybody else gonna starve out. Because you gotta know the data. Our black private sector is only at $270 billion. Jeff Bezos is worth $211 billion. So you're talking about all the black private business in America. They only got as a collective $270 billion. Jeff Bezos, one white man, has $211 billion. You can't compete. If all of us together don't got almost one white man got more wealth than all of our whole private sector of black business, that means we ain't really got no black business. And whites got over $20 trillion in private business. Who running who? The saying is said, big bank takes little bank. So we got to wake up and understand we ain't the big bank and we can't be here. It's about economics. You live in this economic system. So you can't separate yourself from that. Too many of us are running around listening to people talking about, we ain't got to do what they do. We do. Listen, you in this economy. So all the money in this economy has effect on all money in this economy. You can't escape this economy. As long as you're in this country, you are inside within this economy. That means your money got to keep up with the price of everything else. If it's not, you're losing. That's as simple as it gets. And if anybody try to tell you different, they don't understand how economics works. I guarantee you won't hear no professionals tell you nothing different. No economist would disagree with me. These street hustlers may, but they don't understand it neither. So when we see stuff like this, we gotta hold people's foot to the fire. Where's the rest of that money? Where's the rest of that money coming from? Because it's always big bank take little bank. White people got 20 trillion, probably about $24 trillion in private business. We only got 270 billion. We ain't even touching $1 trillion. So what is all this craze going on about? We got another statement that was made. And I'm going to try to share the screen, let you. What I'm going to do tonight, I'm going through things that I am seeing. This is why I say we are living in the Twilight Zone with the Black ADOS group. The mental effect that this country is having on us because we don't know the data. Because we don't understand that Elon Musk got $5.9 billion from the government, while at the same time telling you don't need government. Pretty crazy. Somebody trying to tell you don't need government while all of their wealth came from the government. And y'all calling him a genius. Y'all trying to wait for him to tell you what to do at the stock. Well, you better listen. He got his from the government, not from the stock market, not from Bitcoin, not from none of that junk. He got it from the government. And it's time to get real in these conversations and stop running around crazed out about how I'm going to get a dollar. If you don't do politics, if you don't become politically engaged, politically educated, and start to understand your lineage, what it means to be ADOS American descendant of slave. If you don't come to terms with coming from that slavery, you're going to pay the cost. Because just like most white Americans come from slave owners, you come from the slave. And the cost of coming from that slave is encaped in your lineage. You need to come to understand this. This is why you get things like this black people going for. Give me $1 a month. I'm going to make 1.8 and I'm going to pimp you. I'm going to give you 50. We need to understand what is really happening. So, cause to me, what makes us stronger is understanding we are bottom caste. We have no wealth. We have no wealth. You got to come to terms with that. If you can come to terms that we don't have wealth as a ADOS group, descendants of slavery, we can move very differently. Because once you know your weakness, you definitely know your strength. And I know it may be people in the night that ain't been listening to my shows, ain't been following me. Listen, go back through Yvette Cornell shows, Antonio Moore shows. Go back through my shows. If you got to watch all these shows to be able to connect these dots. Now, I'm just telling you, we don't have no wealth. I don't care what some group try to gaslight you with. It ain't happening. That's why if you pay attention, the more people tell you we got wealth, yet where our car line at? We don't produce no cars. Tell them to solve that problem first. Start with that because everybody need a car. as Elon Musk used government money to build a Tesla, while black people telling you, yo, I don't need no government. Now we talking about, but he fears a tax on billionaires. And some information came out today. He filed bankruptcy. See, that ain't the same as when we file bankruptcy. When they file bankruptcy, they trying to slide out of something. They trying to slide out of something. So we need to be able to understand that. That's right. Elon Musk's big government gifts to Tesla Model says he wants to be left alone, but he's been living off taxpayers' dime for years. All of these things, once you start to understand these things, everything starts to make sense. It's people out there living off income and don't know they living off income. What I mean, you're not going to get a gift. You're not going to get an inheritance. Your money and what you're capable of paying for is coming solely off the job that you have. That's income. That's income. You don't got no money coming from nowhere else. If that job don't pay it to you, you don't have it. The thing is, when you look around you, it's people living off not only good income, they living off inheritance and gifts. It's white people in this country that's getting $1 million homes gifted to them, while at the same time inheriting millions of dollars. So we got to come to terms. We living in a society, in an era where people are living off inheritance. White baby boomers, their kids are going to inherit $68 trillion when the mama or the daddy die. That's going to be a major inheritance, meaning people ain't even living off income no more or labor. They're living off inheritance. Us as blacks are still trying to live off income in a time where all the wealth is being passed down and people living off inheritance. So we got to, if you don't know this, go look up the article. Johnny, put it in the chat. The article talks about how white baby boomer kids are going to inherit $68 trillion. We got to get real in these conversations. It's a craze going on and leading to a lot of people being stressed, mental problems. That's why my show is called Breaking the Mental Chain. The chain that we are dealing with in this conversation is the chain that you still listen to people talking about we got money and we don't got none. Because those people don't understand that white people right now in 2021 got $125 trillion as a group. Trillion with a T, not with a B, with a T. And blacks only working with about 5 trillion. Well, when we should be at about 40 trillion. That's how far behind the curve we is. That's why we got most of our people living in the negative. What I mean when I say living in the negative, mean you in debt, and you got things you can't pay and you paying on. That's what's going on. We need to get 300 dudes people in Twin Cities starting in 2022. Let's get it done. That ADOS is a new ethnic group. Just LBGQ and BIPOC. Yeah. That we gotta get serious in these spaces. And when we can get serious in these spaces, we can get things to move. And we can move this needle forward, hands down. Now, what I'm going through is to show you the mental condition of our group that makes it just like we're in the Twilight Zone. Because so many people are just talking and don't know the data or the history of the things that transcending around them. You know, that's what we got to come to terms with. I'm going to share this with you. Let me see what this here. I'm going to share this screen. Hold on a minute. I might be this one. So right here, what I'm sharing with you is another post right here. And what it says right here is, I'll never take easy way out. I'm going to speak the truth when I'm asked about it. I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed. Every time I step on the field, I step on the field and make a play. Let me stroll down through this because this is an article somebody posted on Cabinet. See, what we got to understand right here is, right, this is all symbolism and emotionalism. If you looked at the Netflix on this guy right here, all he did was told the story. He walked up to the line. He refused to cross the line. What do I mean? He talked about the oppression that ADOS black people deal with in this country, but he didn't give you a solution to fix the problem. That would have been crossing the line. See, because if he'd have gave you a solution to fix the problem, he would have talked about the cost that all that oppression has cost us, that we were locked out financially or wealth. Meaning he would have talked about reparation is owed, reparation is due. We need a black agenda, and I'm going to fight politically that black people get this. He ain't going to say that. That's what I mean when I say walking up to the line but not crossing it. Telling my story don't financially pay my bills because you told my story. And because you get to decide when you want to be black and when you want to be white. See, you can straddle the fence. But it's millions of ADOS people. We 24/7, 365 days a year, ADOS. Mama and dad. We don't get to jump double dutch out and in, baby. It's every day with us. So we got to be able to understand it. Whites have 4 grandparents to expect an inheritance for. 4 grandparents. 4. And we sitting over here still talking about trying to hustle when they already that far ahead. We got to get real in these conversations. I'm going to share this one with you. Hold on just a minute. Let me get that. Let's share this. Hold on. It's so crazy some of the things we are listening to and going with. This one here is here we go right here. Where they saying most black businesses don't need funding. They just need us to buy from them. That's all. See, this is what I mean when I say it's a craze. When Tone said it's a craze going on. So let's break this statement down. That's what I want to do. They saying most black businesses don't need funding. Hold up. Let's go back here in the comments. I'm going to go back to right here. In the comments, it was stated right here. Everybody talking about, look at this statement and understand that Elon Musk got $5.9 billion from the government. It ain't saying white people investing in him. It's saying that he got $5.9 billion from the government. Here's a statement from a black person telling you most black businesses don't need funding. First of all the data show that almost 90% of black businesses don't have capital. Meaning they underfunded. They are underfunded because they have no capital. That's why 50% of black businesses fail in the first year because they have no funding. Here's a statement about most black businesses don't need funding. They just need us to buy from them. Now, what we got to look at is what it looks like when we buy from them. We're going to have to pay more for it. Why? Because they are not a Walmart. They are not a Target. Meaning they're not a multi-billion-dollar corporation that buys things at large quantities that leads to them getting it cheaper. Okay, I said earlier that we wealthless. So if we're a wealthless group, we got to go to where our money goes the farthest at. Right? You can't go somewhere and pay 3 times more for something when you're a group that's wealthless. It's simple. You can't do it. You can't afford to do it. So you go to where you can afford to go. So if that black business, if it's a black business restaurant, their 3-piece chicken dinner costs you $12. But Bojangles 3-piece chicken dinner costs you $7. You forced to go to Bojangles because you can't afford it. How hard is that to understand? If these black businesses really cared about their group, what they would do is fight for reparation on a political level. They would be fighting with ADOS for reparations and a black agenda that would infuse wealth into our group, allowing us to do business with one another. See, this is a pimp hand in motion. This statement is a pimp hand in motion, trying to backhand black folks. When you know enough, you can see the pimp hand coming and you can get out the way. But you got to know the data in order to do that. If you don't know the data, you get your whole lip tore off. Black up, whole lip get tore off because you don't know the data. We have to pay more because they are underfunded. See, it's simple how you got to pay more. But first you got to understand how business works. If you don't understand that, if you don't understand really how business works, and it's a lot, trust me, it's a lot of black people running businesses that don't really know how business works. I'm telling you, because if they really understood how business works, we ADOS wouldn't be so alone in this space when we fighting for reparations and a black agenda. Every black businesses would be on board with us because they know you could be a do for self and understand if your group get more money, you gonna get more business. But because they so hard on being a do for selfer and they love bootstrapping, they don't even advocate for their people. I'm just telling you. Every business needs startup capital. Every business needs startup capital. If you don't understand that, how are you talking about being a business? It's simple. They don't have access to white capital to fund their dreams, so they try to shame ADOS into supporting their expensive dream. That's all most black businesses do, is try to shame their people in supporting their business. But you can't get them to advocate, do political push for the debt that's owed to you. It's simple as when I say understanding that we got to help each other in a way. Like when you see a brother, if you know something like about a job where a brother can make better money, you see him on a job not making the same good money, and you in the space where you do make good money. Yes, reach out to that brother and say, bro, listen, I can help get you on here. I can help get you a job where you can have better income. But what that brother got to do then is advocate for his people the same way, in the right way. That's how we help each other. But then when that brother understand that our real fight is through a political change, a government push, we push together politically. Means sit down and educate yourself on policy and how you can be a part of helping us fight for the debt that not only owed to me, but to you too. Because you ADOS. I don't care if grandmother didn't tell you that. Ask her about those sharecroppers. Ask granddaddy about those sharecroppers. See, ask them. Yeah, they shame they don't want to tell you. Because they thought if they didn't tell you that it would make you better. But you still going to have to deal with it. All the data show it ain't no running from it. All the data show it ain't no running from it. So you're going to have to deal with it. I'm going to share this stream here because this article here talks about another issue in our group coming from this oppression. Here it is right here. Black on black racism, the hazards of explicit bias, the hazard of explicit bias, how the politics of how the politics of respectability twist society. So what is actually happening within our group? This article, you can go read this out of the Atlantic when you get the chance. I've read it. What it's talking about is how we use the term work harder, you ain't doing enough, how we even turn racism in on one another, meaning somebody black being racist towards somebody else that's black, or ADOS in return. How we are racist towards one another, and it's streaming from this oppression system we have had to live within. Meaning that you will get blacks that you will hear talk that's ADOS, they come from slavery. And they may say things like, listen, black people don't want to work. Black people want somebody to give them something. All of these terms are white supremacy talking points. White supremacy talking points. Yes, it says right here, he reacts, it's wild, bro, because our unity is so powerful, yet we don't use it. So the way you make that unity work is we move by the data, history, our lineage. One thing blacks are not doing enough of is understanding our lineage. I'm not a Mexican. I'm not a Nigerian. I'm not a Ghana. I'm not a Japanese. I'm not an Asian. I'm ADOS. I am the American descendant of slavery. If you go back in my history, in my lineage, you're going to come to slaves. You're going to hit sharecroppers. You're going to hit people that was redlined. You're going to hit people that went through Jim Crow. That's my lineage. Pigma don't tell that story because people can be as black. Their skin color can be darker than mine. And they still don't have that lived experience. See, what ties people together is lived experience. That's what ties people together. And if our group can come to terms with that, we can move as a voting bloc and change the narrative in America. If we can understand Barack Obama is not us, Kamala Harris is not us. They don't come from that same lived experience. Pigma don't make you have the same lived experience as me. It's never been about Pigma. That was a con trick. Get over it. I say it all the time. If you're not growing mentally, you're standing still physically. Meaning if right now, on my show right now, if you ain't learned something that you didn't know and you standing still. But if you did, this is the mental growth. This is called mental growth. That means you just grow. You're learning something you didn't know. We got to come to terms with it. If we can come to terms with these things, we can make a difference. Yes, just by part, we are the new ethnic group. Black mayor in St. Paul, black attorney general in the St. Paul capital. Under military contract, Lockheed Blackwater is funded by the military industrial. That's, hey, understand. This is within the chat. These military contracts, 100% we can have if we advocated for our Pacific lineage and stop advocating on skin color. That was a trick. They fooled us with that trick. So, yeah, these prison contracts definitely demand that they keep those prisons in. That's understand. It's more ADOS men in prison than all race of women in the world. And we ain't got enough black people that's in an outcry about that. They sitting around waiting for it to be their nephew, cousin, them to be the next. Understand when I say more ADOS men in prison than all race of women in the world. That's worse than the genocide that was going on in Africa. Yet only one organization talking about it, and that's ADOS. Yvette Cornell, Antonio Moore, here at Breaking the Mental Chain, we talking about it. None of these other organizations is talking about it. I don't care who they are. I'm telling you, if you with an organization that ain't advocating for you to be paid the debt that you are owed, it's a problem. This article points to that. How we wanted to look good in the eyes of whites. So this black on black racism happens where we tell our kids, how do black on black racism look? Basically, you tell your kids stuff like this. This is why I say welcome to the Twilight Zone. You tell your kids stuff like this. Listen, you know you got to work 10 times harder than let me come out of this. You know you got to work 10 times harder than a white person. And we don't understand what we just said. Every generation has heard something in this form as a child by a parent. You know you got to do everything 20 times better than anybody else just to be accepted. Just to be accepted. And we didn't realize what we was basically saying to our child is, you got to become the mule again. You got to become the slave again. Because if you told your child that they needed to do something 100 times better than whites, you told your child to be a slave again for whites. See, I'm telling my child, not that. I'm telling my child, you're going to fight to fix this system. That's what I'm telling my child. I'm teaching my child to fight to fix this system where they can be respected and looked at as a man or a woman that's ADOS and be treated in accordance with what their skills is, period. Not to have to do nothing 1,000 times than somebody else. They built this nation. Their ancestors built this nation. Nobody else did. Mexicans didn't do it. How none of that umbrella Hispanic, they didn't do it. They may be doing an upkeep because they taking the jobs from us and giving it to them, but we built it. The lineage that come from slavery built it. I don't care if you don't like it. And we owe a debt. I don't care if you don't like that. I'm going to still fight for it. And if anybody tell me I ain't got a right to fight for it, tell that coward to get in the back of the line. You won't stand in my way. Well, and another thing, definitely check out ADOSfoundation.org. Go there. You can see our extensive black agenda. One of the most extensive one you gonna see. See, when people be talking, ask them what their plan is, ask them how they plan to execute it, and ask them how it's gonna financially benefit you in your household. If you go to the ADOSadvocacyfoundation.org, you're gonna see that we got a plan that's gonna benefit you, your family, directly in your household. The heartbeat of our movement is reparations. That's the heartbeat. But we got a powerful black agenda to make us, to build us within the institutions of America, because we built it. And you ain't going to see that nowhere else but there. Another thing, donate to the ADOS Advocacy today. It's to Give Tuesday. Give a donation to the ADOS Advocacy. The donation page is up there. Give a donation to help us in this fight. Because we the only organization out there talking this way and pushing this way. You got a lot of kumbayas out there. Nobody talking the real, though. Nobody talking the real. If you told your child to work twice as hard and be twice as good, get half, you told your child to be a slave again. That's right. And you didn't even understand it. It's the truth. And we must break these mental chains. This is why I have these shows, to make us reflect, look in that mirror. Understand what these people have done to you. It's been plenty studies did, and it states that we deal with trauma, major trauma coming out of that slavery. And that trauma looks different. This statement here shows you that black people never sat down to really think about what they was telling their child. That's what you was telling them. So today, if you listening to this show, if somebody tell you that, you tell them that right there. You tell them that. Tell them to stand up for something. Get a backbone. Get a spine. Learn how to fight. Because that's what we got to do. We got to stop standing by being pushed to the side. You got to stand up and fight. I want to show you this black on black racism. I want to give you the guy. I'm going to show you the guy that wrote it. Theodore Johnson. He's ADOS. But here, and the reason I want to show you this guy, because I want to connect the dots to something else. When you, this guy here, when you look at this guy, I did a little bit of research on this guy. He never really talks about slavery. He never really talks about his family. How this country, he talks one thing. He talks about one thing in that in his article, that he found out himself that he was racist towards his own people. You see? He found out that he was racist towards his own people. That's how oppression looks, man. That's how it looks. See, we got to get real in these conversations and stop putting so much quality times in things that don't focus on the debt that's owed to you, your family, your kids. The thing that's going to give you the capability of really building generational wealth. Because at the point we are now, no job is going to do it. No business ain't going to do it. All the data show that ain't going to happen. Data shows that even if whites stop making money right now, meaning making more money, meaning I got this business, I'm producing something. Even if they stop, data shows that if they didn't make no more money for the next 200 years, we still wouldn't catch up. So that bootstrapping, the remix to that bootstrapping that people got you doing, it ain't gonna work. If you don't get in this fight with ADOS and help us fight this political fight, it's done. Not only for you, your kids, your grandkids, and even the kids you might not never see. We will become, well, it ain't become, because we already that. We already the bottom caste. We already the ones making up 80% of the prison population. We already the ones that making up 53% of the homeless. We already the ones making up biggest of the unemployment. That's what a worthless group looks like in a country. See, when you become in them categories of that high number, your group is starved out. I don't care what a rapper says. I don't care what Jay-Z said. I don't care what Oprah said. They don't change that data. Matter of fact, the truth is they hinder the process of fixing that data. What do I mean? When I say Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry hinders the process of fixing this moment, because they'll come out and undermine what I say, and I ain't got a platform as big as them. I don't have the money they have, and who you listen to? Them. Even though what they saying don't quite align with your day-to-day life. Understand what I'm saying to you. You will listen to them when what they are stating do not align with your day-to-day life. Meaning it don't align with your day-to-day struggle. But what I'm saying aligns with your day-to-day struggle. That would mean I know more than they know. Money has nothing to do with what you do or don't know. It goes back to when I told you, if you are not mentally growing, you're standing still physically. I mean, you can put on a nice suit, you can put on $1,000 pair of shoes, it don't make you know no more. I'm sorry if you thought it worked that way. That's not how it works. See, my uneducated daddy, he couldn't read and write, meaning he couldn't even write his own name because he came from sharecropping. He was forced out of school in the second grade, never learning how to read and write. I ain't ashamed of it. America did it. Why don't you help me fight them? If you don't like it, help me fight them to fix it. Help me get him justice. Help me get my mama justice. Help me get your mama and daddy justice. Your grandma justice. See, that's how a fight look. You think about the people that had to deal with it. Because we dealing with it too, just in a different form. Same thing. But when I say money don't make you know no more. See, understand who biggest of their wealth is tied in with white capital. Most of Jay-Z money is tied with white people. His ownership is 1% of what white people own 100% or 90%. He just a 1% business owner. That means he ain't gonna come out and talk like me because they'll strip him. They'll put him back out on the street. So he'd rather sell you out and tell you some remix to a bootstrap before he tell you what I'm telling. Oh, and on top of that, he probably don't even know what I'm saying, even without them being there. But the fact that they got their foot on his neck, he ain't gonna talk like me no way. It will upset white folks the way I'm talking. Because what I'm talking gonna wake you up. It's gonna make you look at life different. It's gonna make you move different. And like I said at the beginning of the show, what we still have is people power. So we got to use that people power to get things done that we need done. We can move this needle. We can move this needle. But we got to change the way we think it. And the way we change the way we think it, we get rid of the symbolism. We get rid of the emotionalism. I don't need no plaque. I don't need no plaque. I don't need you telling me how good I am. I don't need that. I need money to be able to pay my bills. I need money to be able to build a better future for my kids. I need ownership in the country that I built. And I ain't talking about no ownership to where I am the middleman back to white capitalism. What do I mean? Most black businesses, they may have a restaurant, may even sell clothes, may sell cell phone cases. Who knows? But they don't make or produce that cell phone case. They don't make or produce that hamburger bun or the hamburger patty that goes on the bun. They don't have a farm where they buying that meat from a black farmer. See what I'm saying? Do you understand now how we don't understand what really black businesses look like? That's what I mean when I say we don't get it. We got to come to terms. Once we can understand our positioning, we'll know how we need to fight. Well, if you join ADOS, our kids educating our people how we can fight. And it ain't like the NAWCP. It ain't like Urban League. It ain't like Al Sharpton. We know those people are all coons. Listen, one thing ADOS do, we keep records, baby. We keep records. We understand these organizations don't stand for us, don't fight for us. That's why we here, so we can be the real voice, the grassroots voice of the people. We move different than any other group. Once you understand what I'm saying, once you go back, watch all the Tone videos, Antonio Moore, which is Tone Talks. If you go back and watch all Yvette Cornell videos, you will start to think like me. You will be breaking. You will begin to break those mental chains that have been given to you by a loved one. Listen, when these grandmas, these mothers say these things like you got to work harder, they ain't doing it intentionally. You got to remember they also are in the Twilight Zone. they've been manipulated mentally too. It's been a mental chain put on them. So these loved ones ain't doing this to you intentionally. They doing it because it's all they know. They never stop to take the time to try to break that mental chain and say, is what I'm telling my child or teaching my child, is this really going to benefit him in the end? Or will it just benefit someone else? You know, it's like right here, we have to use our people power in the absence of wealth. We don't have wealth. We still got people though. Over 35 million blacks are still in this country. ADOS. And we need to come to terms of using the data. We need to get away from the emotionalism and the symbolism. If we move by the history, lineage, data, and policies, the effective policy, then we'll move as a voting bloc and we can change the narrative in this country. If we start telling this leadership, I am not Mexican, I am not Asian, I am not a person of color, I am ADOS, I'm American descendant of slavery. We are not the same. Desegregation is necessary. We must desegregate from groups that are not us because they are trying to erase us by making it a melting pot as if we all are one by ties of pigment color. Understand, I do not understand Asian people traditions, and they don't understand mine. Just what it is. If we sit down to the table together, they don't eat the same food me and you eat. Not in the way we serve it up. They don't serve it up the same. Because we're not the same. When you hear these politicians or these black leadership talking this people of color, just know they've been compromised or they don't know what the hell going on. Either way, it's a problem. We don't need celebrities to tell us about what makes them rich if they aren't fighting for the collective. Understand what this statement is saying. Why do I need you to sit down with me and try to convince me on how you got wealthy? As if somehow that's going to make me wealthy. And understand the more, this is for all the new people. As you become a critical thinker, what you're going to find out is a Jay-Z, a P. Diddy. It all was because timing and error. No different than it is with baby boom. Understand that they came along just before technology took off. You know, they caught a glimpse of when you were still buying, you can sell a CD out of your trunk. A CD. You can sell it out your trunk. Know today that I can download thousands of songs and never pay for them through different resources. I can listen to them all day. Never pay a dime. But I would pay for that app that I was using. I would have to pay for the app I was using, but I can listen to your music all day, never pay you for it. The thing is, the person that got their music there will get a percentage of me listening to that person's app. So the money in that game has got less now because the avenues to it has been taken over by apps that you can download and people don't have to pay for the music. You know, it's no different than what I'm on here. You can listen to music on here all day for free. And if you're a bottom group, what you more likely to do? You're going to listen to music for free before you pay for it. So understand what we mean by timing and error. These people caught timing and error, a window of opportunity. They caught it. Well, those windows of opportunity are being cut off. They being cut off because the racial wealth gap is getting so big, all the avenues are being cut off. Because all the wealth is being sucked up. And it done been sucked up. It ain't being sucked up. It's sucked up. So the only thing we can do in this time is to fight for reparations and find how to get engaged, how to fight. How to become this critical thinker, to see the twilight zone within you live. Because dealing with our group is the twilight zone. It's the only time you will see when a group of people come from the bottom trying to fight, and blacks that's above them would try to get in the way and stop them from fighting. Try to undermine it. See, that's the Twilight Zone. When you get this craze at the bottom that somehow somebody making $1 million, 1.8 million a month is worth you getting 50,000. You don't understand what do for self-renderism look like. You don't understand you got to hold that person accountable, regardless of his color. Like I said at the beginning of the show, holding him accountable sends a message to the white institution. Not only are we holding you accountable, we holding our own accountable so that you can't use them against us. Meaning Jay-Z and Oprah, we got to hold them accountable when they come out and don't say, we are owed a debt, that blacks are owed, ADOS black people are owed reparations in America. If they don't say that, they ain't with you. Stop thinking they are. If they scared to say it, they ain't with you. See, I'm from the street. I'm one that always believe the key to any fight is knowing who with you, who against you. And never be scared of that. Because if you know who with you, you know who you need to be fighting. And if you outnumber, you know how hard you need to be fighting. Because sometimes you might have to pick up a stick. That's just real. That's just, hey, somehow you got to even the odds. You got to find a way to even them odds. And the way we even the odds here, the stick we going to pick up is going to be politics. If you don't understand politics, today is your day to start researching. I say go down this rabbit hole with ADOS and understand why I speak like I speak. Why I can connect the dots to things that need to be connected to. While I catch all the hell in my household because I do these live shows and my girl get upset with me. Why? Because I believe this fight is the fight that's going to make life better for my kids. So I'm going to have to upset her a little bit in this fight. But this fight is too important to step out of it. And I get it. Sometimes in the midst of this fight, you get a little upset. You get that feeling of hopelessness that it ain't going to happen. But I think that's the time you got to dig deeper and fight harder. When I come in here and do these shows, it ain't that I feel like doing them every night. It's that I feel it's necessary. If I could reach one person out there to turn them into a fighter for this movement, I accomplish my mission. And the mission is chipping away at a rock, a boulder. When you hit a boulder, you chip off a little bit of the rock. But eventually, that chip turns into a boulder. And that's what I'm fighting for. Everybody don't got to see your vision. Trust me. It's going to be less people to see your vision than do see it. You got to be able to see it and say, I got to connect with other people that have this same vision and get in the fight with them. And that's what we do. Or tell you to vote, then turn right back around and say what the government won't do for ADOS. That is so important to realize when people do that too. Because these celebrities will come out very quickly and tell you to go vote. Because they also know the manipulation in telling you to go vote. And they'll say ain't telling you who to vote for, but you need to vote. That's a con trick. See, the data shows 95% of black people vote Democrat. So they know when they tell you to go vote, you're going to vote Democrat. Well, ADOS stood in solidarity this election that just passed with Trump and Joe Biden. We voted down ballot Democrat. We filled in the top of the ticket. We filled in the little circle beside the line, the blank line, and wrote ADOS at the top of the ticket. We didn't vote for Joe Biden or Trump. And I feel proud today that I didn't vote for Joe Biden or Trump. Because neither one was willing to do enough to make my people whole. So all those celebrities that told you to go vote, ask them why they turn around and tell you government ain't going to fix nothing for you. You know why? Because they got something out the deal. Those politicians gave them a little something, so they sold you out instead of advocating for you. So we got to understand we got to understand when we being tricked. We got to understand when people are pulling the wolves over our eyes. As right here, many people didn't understand why Biden should not receive our vote. That's so very true. And you know why most of them didn't understand why Biden shouldn't have received our vote? They didn't keep up with his track record. They just waited. It was 4 years. It was time to vote. I got to go vote Democrat. I don't know nothing. But if somebody try to educate me and teach me something, I ain't listening to that neither. It's time to vote. I'm going to go vote for a Democrat. Well, the key to success is keeping up with these politicians' track record. If you had kept up with Joe Biden's track record for the last 50 years, what you would have came to terms was that he won't no good for black people no way, and he hated black people. He is the orchestrator of crime bills that led to, when I say it's more black men in prison than all race of women in the world. He orchestrated it. He orchestrated him and Bill Clinton. Yeah, Bill played the saxophone. I know he played the saxophone. It turned you on. But he was the orchestrator of crime bills that led to mass incarceration of black people. To black people. See, you can't hold somebody accountable if you ain't keeping up with their track record. Because you're looking at the football, because you're looking at the basketball. It can be hard to keep up with track record when you're being distracted. And most of the thing we put time and energy in is a real distraction. So we don't pay attention to the necessary thing we need to. No different than this guy here. They knew he was Obama VP. Like that meant anything. Did Obama do anything for you? Nope. Didn't do nothing either. But they told you he was the first black president. But he was mixed with Kenyan and white. I don't think that sounds like nothing coming from sharecropper. He more likely came from slave owners through his white mama. That's the truth. But because we fell for pigma, we got tricked. Well, if we can become politically educated, we can see all their tricks. We can put a hope to them. We can hold them accountable and get to move that line for the debt is old and a black agenda. I appreciate everybody that joined in tonight. I appreciate everybody that came in and made comments in the chat. It's not about the numbers that's in the chat. It's about moving this line forward. It's about that one person out there that made it know this information, that I can send him on his journey or her on her journey to become politically educated and get involved with this fight, this ADOS fight. Right here, Joe Biden was segregationist, liberally, 1 degree of separation from the pitchfork, being Tiller, and through Strom Thurmond. Understand who Strom Thurmond was. He was an ex-Klan. Well, he was the Klan. What I'm talking about, ex. He was a Klan member. See, if you'd have known this, you'd have known him and Trump was the same. But no, also in this fight, you can't be scared to stand up. Yes, if we vote down ballot, we're going to deal with what we're dealing with now. Joe Biden ain't doing nothing for us. Understand the things that he did do was because of the pandemic. He did it to prop the economy up. Had nothing to do with you. And if you don't understand what I mean by prop up the economy, the best way to prop up the economy is give money to a group that has no ownership, that is a bottom caste, that's worthless, because that money going to go right through their hands back into the economy. And you help prop the economy up. I'm just telling you. You might didn't know it, but that's what he did. That's what he did. So we got to get in front of these things. We got to become the critical thinkers. And we can, but we got to apply ourselves. We must put attention where it benefits us to change the things that's happening to us. If you're struggling with understanding what it is to be the bottom caste in this group, check the data. I'll give you a little data. I said it earlier. We 53% of the homeless. It's people under the sound of my voice right now. They got people in their family that's homeless, sleeping on a couch, sleeping on the floor. Oprah ain't gonna talk about these people, but I am, because I care and love these people because they are my group. It's people sleeping in the cars, homeless. It's cold out there tonight. Gonna get a lot colder. We need to fight for these voices that can't be heard. We need to be fighting for the voices that cannot be heard. That is not going to happen through an Oprah or a Jay-Z or a cabinet. These people are sellouts. And we got to be able to see it. If you don't understand what I'm saying, like I said, go watch all of my shows, all of Yvette Cornell and Antonio Moore. You will begin to understand how these moving pieces are going around. Because we being tricked. And there's only one way to stop being tricked. Hey, we need ADOS people to vote for also. That's right. See, if we become politically educated, as Robin stated here, we can have ADOS people that we can vote for, that we can put in those political spaces to advocate for us. Because the Congressional Black Caucus is not advocating for us. They also a sellout. And you got to be paying attention that these people ain't advocating for us. So what Rob says is very true. We need voices in those spaces like mine, like Yvette Cornell, like Antonio Moore, that will push this and move this line forward. So I want my people to be able to connect the dots. Once we can start to do it, we will see everything differently. We will start to dissect conversations way better than we do. So that's the show tonight. I want to say to my people, as I said many times before, stay focused, stay strong, continue to move the line forward for ADOS. If what you learn new today, try to learn something else new tomorrow. Make sure it's around politics. It's a lot of snakes in the game of politics. We need more of our people to pay close attention to these moving pieces. Your friendships should be told. What kind of friend would you have if a friend didn't care about you being able to survive in this country? If his politics are not in line with yours, if his politics are in line for you to be starved out, how is that a real friend? If you can't get them to advocate for your needs, you built the nation. Your people built the nation. We got to be able to understand that. Hey, and as I say here, thank you, family, for coming through, support, breaking the middle chain. Hey, I hope to see y'all Sunday. I'll be back in here Sunday night at 8:30 to give you some more heat. Hey, stay strong. Hey, always advocate for your group, your lineage. Good night.